Ooh, this is perfect. I just filmed myself making this. Hey y'all, it's your girl Hannah Melanin, and I'm back with another video. In this video, I'll be sharing with you all my experience working at Starbucks. Please do bear in mind that your experience and others' experience may differ or even be similar depending on the location in which you work at, and of course many other factors. But before I get into this video, please do not forget to like, comment, share, and most of all subscribe, and turn on your post notification bells if you'd like to be alerted when I do upload another video. Without further ado, let's get right into this video. So in my first semester of college, which was last fall, I received an email from my school saying that our Starbucks was hiring. It caught my eyes and I decided to apply. The application process was fairly simple and quite interesting. It wasn't your traditional application where you'd either fill out your information on a piece of paper or on a website. It was through this messaging platform. So basically the interviewer asked me a series of questions such as like, what's my name, my phone number, and things of that nature. And I responded back with a text message. So once I filled out the application, I was virtually interviewed. She asked me a series of questions. Then I had to send a video responding to the questions and prompts that she sent. After that was completed, I had to wait about, I think, less than a month to get a response back as to whether or not I was hired. And unfortunately, I was not hired. I was pretty disappointed at first because I had a lot of confidence that I would get the job. But I just reminded myself that if it were God's will, I would have gotten it at least then. Clearly, it wasn't his will for me to get it then. So I just sat patiently and waited for him to come through. So one day, as I was on my way to school, I decided that I'd stop to get some coffee. Around this time, I really wasn't a fan of coffee, but once you start adulting, you'll realize that coffee is a must. Getting enough sleep is definitely essential, but it's really hard at times to get enough rest, and so coffee can definitely help save the day by God's grace. So I decided to stop and get some coffee. But before going there, I was pretty indecisive about where I'd get coffee at. I personally do believe that the Holy Spirit led me to get it on campus. And why I say this is because of what transpired. So I went and I ordered a drink, and I just felt led to ask, like, are you guys hiring? And they're like, yeah, actually, we need someone for these days from this time. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like, I don't have class around those times. That would be great. Like, I could definitely fill in for that. And what's also crazy is that my boss was in the store at that time, and I had no clue that he was the boss. So they were like, oh, you know, our boss is right there. You can go speak to him and he'll let you know if we're hiring and whatnot. So I spoke to him and he was super pleasant. Till this day, he's a very, very pleasant man, and I really do give God thanks for him because it's hard to come across good bosses. They're out there, but not every establishment has the best bosses. So I spoke to him and I even told him that I applied in the past, but it didn't go through. Well, not that it didn't go through, but that I didn't get the job. He was like, really? And we spoke, and then he told me to keep in touch with him and to reapply, and he'll look out for my application. This goes to show that it's really important, especially in this day and age, to make yourself known, not only virtually, but physically, when you're interested in a job or when you're applying to a job, because most establishments get a plethora of applications, and it makes a huge difference when you go in and you speak to whoever is hiring and tell them about yourself, give them your name, so that when they're looking through applications, they'll remember you and be like, oh, so-and-so came here and seemed really interested in this job. Let me check their application out instead of just like skipping over it. So the second time around, I went through the same process that I did when I first applied. The difference was that this time I got the job. I got the job and I had to give more information about myself and read documents and sign them online and read like the terms and policies and things of that nature. I think like a week or a couple days after that, I started, and now I can get into the training process. On my first day working there, I was taught how to use the oven and how to restock and where to find food. And over time, it does become really easy. I would say what made it a bit complicated for me at first was having to memorize where to grab food from, which buttons to click when heating up certain foods, and also being able to move swiftly when it gets really hectic. I also try to make it a habit to move swiftly even when it's not as hectic, so that when it does become hectic, I'm more inclined to just move quickly. And at the oven, what we basically do is just heat up pre-cooked food. Something that was pretty annoying that I was at fault for was dropping food at times, or if a ticket came out with an order for a chocolate chip cookie, I would read a chocolate brownie and sometimes give customers the wrong foods. Or a ham and Swiss panini, right? So we have ham and Swiss panini and we have a ham and Swiss croissant. At first, I would mix up the two. So a customer may have ordered a ham and Swiss panini, and instead, I'd heat up a ham and Swiss croissant and hand the customer the wrong food. Those were mistakes that I made, not frequently, but from time to time when I first started working there. I really can't recall the last time I gave a customer something that they didn't order. So of course, practice makes perfect, and over time, you become better at it. So about 2 to 3 months into working there, I was taught how to make drinks, which I will say is probably the hardest thing to learn. The act of making the drink isn't what's hard, but just memorizing the recipes can be a bit complex because there's so many recipes. And not only are there so many recipes, but customers can customize their recipe. So if a drink usually comes with 3 shots, sometimes customers want 4 shots. Or if a drink comes with a certain amount of pumps of syrup, sometimes customers want to add different flavors, which, hey, nothing's wrong with that. But it can become a bit tricky at times. And although making drinks can be a bit complicated at times, I will say that I enjoy making drinks more than I do working at the oven or at the register. Which brings me to my next point. So working at the register is probably like one of the easiest tasks at Starbucks, because we basically just have this tablet and we just take the customer's orders. What can probably make working at the register not as easy at first is just remembering where to find certain drinks or certain foods. I think I got the hang of that in about less than a week, because it's just not that complex. It doesn't require that much work. You just click into different foods and drinks on a screen. And another thing that might make it not as smooth sailing for a newbie is giving customers the right amount of change, especially when you're in a rush. By the grace of God, I don't think I made any mistakes or I've ever given customers the incorrect amount of change in the past. But that definitely can be an issue if you're in a rush. If someone orders something that's not as common, it can take it'll typically take me like 5 seconds or less than 5 seconds to find something that's frequently ordered opposed to something that's ordered once a month. But overall, the register is like the easiest task. And then cleaning. So cleaning is a must at Starbucks. When I work at the oven, I just dust off the counter, and we have these sanitizer wipes and we use it to clean the counters and the utensils. But the hot bar and the cold bar where we make drinks, that area gets super, super messy, especially where we make refreshers. Sometimes drinks might splash, especially when we're in a rush. When we're taking out inclusions, inclusions are the little fruit pieces that we put into refreshers. Like the powder might get all over the place. Or when we're making frappuccinos, you know, it can get really, really messy. So we have to keep a rag on deck so that we can keep the place as clean as possible. I really do enjoy making drinks, but I hate how messy it can get. I'm not a messy person. There's some individuals that can thrive through messes, but for me, it feels like at times like I'm gonna lose it. But I have gotten used to the mess and I've just realized that it won't last forever. Things will slow down and I'll get the chance to wipe the counter thoroughly and remove all the stickiness and keep things nice and organized. My coworkers and I will take turns sweeping and mopping and wiping down tables and chairs. I don't think I went too in depth about what it's like restocking things. I mostly restock the sandwiches and pastries. It's really not that hard. I mean, we just get the boxes, open them up, and place them on trays and in the fridge so that when customers come to order, we'll have the food right there. This probably should have been my first or second point, but the dress code is pretty basic. I really don't wear anything extravagant to work. Like I'll just wear some jeans or some sweatpants. I'll wear a long sleeve black shirt and my uniform shirt over the long sleeve black shirt. I can add a photo of my uniform right here, and I think it should be in the thumbnail as well. The dress code is pretty simple. We have to wear, of course, appropriate bottoms and appropriate shoes. I do not wear my good shoes to work. I don't do it because, as I mentioned before, it can get a bit messy. At times there are spills, and when taking like certain foods out of the oven, like a grilled cheese sandwich, for example, it does produce a lot of oil. Sometimes that oil does spill a little bit. There are days, like if I'm feeling really nice, like I'll probably wear one of my nice shoes, but for the most part, I'll just wear either my black or white Crocs or some New Balance sneakers. Something simple because it does get messy and you don't want to risk messing up your good shoes or your clothes for that matter. We also have to wear aprons. I like the aprons. They're pretty cute and they're comfortable. I love that they have pockets because I could put my water bottle in it and I could also keep my phone in my other pocket. And we also have to wear hats. This is the hat. It just says Starbucks on it. The only thing that I dislike about these hats is that it has Velcro, which is the enemy of natural hair. If you have straight hair, it probably won't snag at your hair, but when you have kinky curly hair, it's like you're asking to go bald, at least at your nape area. So what I do is I wrap a clear plastic shower cap around it so that it won't come in contact with my hair. But at first, when I started working there and I realized that we had these Velcro hats, I felt like I was gonna cry because I was like, what am I gonna do? I went cutting fabric to see if I could wrap it around it. And then one day my mother was like, why don't you just try the shower cap? And since then I've been using it and this doesn't snag at my hair. Now I'll explain my experience with my coworkers and customers. So I love my coworkers dearly. Sometimes I'll come home or I'll even be at work and like I just have to give God thanks for my coworkers because I've worked at establishments before where my coworkers weren't that pleasant and my boss wasn't any better. And the customers are pretty pleasant for the most part. I can count on one hand how many times I've had an unpleasant customer or an unpleasant interaction with a customer. Even when we make mistakes with customers, like if we give them the wrong order or if they wanted an iced beverage and we give them a hot beverage, they'll come to us politely and say, hey, I ordered an iced beverage and I got a hot beverage. We apologize, we correct our mistake, and there you have it, a happy customer and a happy worker. And that's another thing that I also always give God thanks for, the fact that He blessed me with not only great coworkers and a great boss, but great customers. And the environment and the ambiance is wonderful. Students will come in and they'll order their food and their coffee or their beverage, and they'll do some studying, or professors will even come in with their coworkers and sit and chat it up. It's a really nice and calm environment. A lot of sunlight does come in, so on days when it's really sunny, it just feels wonderful. And even on days when it's cloudy, it just feels nice and calm and just really nice. And because I am a part-time worker and a student, I don't think I'm eligible for the benefits that they offer. Now that I think of it, I actually do receive benefits. I could get any beverage or any food for free. I'm sure my location offers insurance benefits and things of that nature for full-time workers. Overall, I really do enjoy working at Starbucks. It's the best job that I've ever had before. I've worked at a couple other places in the past, and nowhere compares to Starbucks. The only time where I won't look forward to going to work is if I didn't get enough rest, or if I know I have a lot of assignments. Those are times where I'm like, ugh. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Starbucks or my coworkers or the customers or my responsibilities. I actually look forward to going to my job. Like, I enjoy working at Starbucks with majority of my being. I believe I covered everything. You have now came to the end of this video. If you work at Starbucks or if you've worked there in the past, please share your experience with me in the comment section down below. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and most of all subscribe, and turn on your post notification bells if you'd like to be alerted when I do upload another video. I hope you all enjoyed this. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.